Hi, Emily. Giving you notes on your walk assignment, and it's looking pretty good. It's looking solid. I really like the progress that you've been making. So let's take a look at some specific things. I don't, I don't think you're that. I think you're doing great. I want to just say that to encourage you because you're doing great. So I'm gonna identify your keys here. So let's see, is that one this one? That one is this one. All right, cool. So the first thing that's kind of catching my eye is how low this goes, right? Like this pose. And I think when you watch the character walk, the up and down of the center of gravity is pretty extreme. So maybe I would just pull back on that a little bit. And I know the motivation to do that is probably to control like your leg shapes and the leg triangle. But I think maybe it's a little too extreme, because I'll kind of look at the waistline. It goes from here to here, kind of stays here, goes back down. I'm just going to guess it's probably around there. I think that's fair. That's a fair guess. So now if I turn on ghosting, we can take a look at the whole ball of wax here. So give me a second. I want to zoom in. All right. So starting first, kind of here. So it jumps down, and then it jumps up, and then it kind of stays still for a frame, and then it jumps down to here, and then jumps down again to here, and then it jumps all the way back up in one frame, and then it goes down a little bit, and that seems fine. So I would pay attention to the spacing of this stuff, because we're kind of at that point now, which is great. I haven't talked a lot about your spacing and stuff previously. Ooh, I'm getting a lot of zooms and outs. Sorry. But let's take a look. So here, I think I would encourage this to be just a little bit straighter. If you can get a little bit more straight leg out of that, that'd be great. I like your foot angle and everything, so maybe it's just about moving that a little bit forward, or maybe when you adjust the height of your center, because that's kind of what I'm talking about, it'll change some of these relationships. So here, when you plant the foot, it's good to have it go down and be at its lowest. But I think maybe the change from here to here is a little too extreme. So maybe like back it off, keep it just a little bit higher or something. I don't know, you're gonna have to play around with it. It's hard for me to figure out how the geometry is gonna work exactly. You're not wrong to go this high. And I would like to actually see this leg kind of get straight here. So maybe I'm actually encouraging you to go a little bit higher. So I think the solution really is to make your lows less low, and to compensate for what that's going to do with your feet is that your stride maybe can be just a little bit more narrow. You know what I mean? This isn't huge stuff, but so let me continue with the thoughts. So here, I want to see the pelvis do either a little bit higher than where it was in the previous frame, or a little bit lower. I think lower makes more sense. I think this will work as your highest frame, especially if you straighten this leg. You may straighten that leg by bringing this up just a tad. So this is going to be your highest frame. This one, you're going to start to drop that pelvis a little bit. Here, I wouldn't quite drop it. Okay, so let's say this is your lowest point. That means on this frame, you're going to be kind of easing into that lowest point. So this kind of spacing, I think you're gonna like how that looks. If it goes from like top, a little bit of movement, a lot of movement. So that's like an ease in to the move, and then an ease out of the move. Yeah, I think that'll fix it. Not fix it, but that'll make it look a lot nicer. Cool. I like what you're doing with the feet. When I look at it in the front view, you got it off that plane, which I like. So this is what I like. I like that your ankle's here, and then it moves in, right, screen-wise. But here I would continue moving it in even a little bit more. So I would move the leg over. There's these pull vectors at the top of your thighs, which you can rotate to like bring this knee in a little bit more too. But I would bring this foot in a bit, maybe not as far as what I've drawn it here. And then make sure here it's still continuing on this arc that goes in and out. Because when you plant, like this is nice. I really like how the foot looks here from the front angle. I really like that it's, that you've rotated the toe out and got it a little bit off the center. And then this plant feels really nice. Feels like maybe it's rotating a little bit as you pull it back. And I think, if this is the angle, again, these are nitpicky notes, right? But this is kind of how it works in animation. So if this is the angle of the foot here, as you pull it back, I would try to keep the angle similar. So if there's some kind of rotation value or something that's changing between these two poses, I would kind of like not rotate it. Try to keep the rotation kind of the same. It's only, in a pose like this, when it's just about to get light, that like now I feel like you have a lot more freedom to rotate it how you want. Maybe those notes are a little soupy. I hope not. I hope that makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense, just send me an email or something and I can clarify it further. Yeah. Okay. I think it's a personal preference, but I would try to tip the pelvis a little bit more. I think you can push the rotation of it a little bit more. And here, I want to feel, because the weight is like all on this leg, I want to feel that by having this angle a little bit more pronounced. Yeah, and then here, just do the opposite. Anyways, those are tiny things. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So we're on an 8-frame walk cycle. I think that I would worry about your timing a little bit because it goes from frame 1 to 4. What that actually means is that you only have 2 frames in between 1 and 4. So I would take all the frames, I would insert a key. So 4 should be on 5, and then 8 will be on 9. So between 4 and 8, it looks great. Like this is going to be a great place for a breakdown pose, and that's what led me to this thought. So retime it just by 1, by just inserting a frame here, and then create your breakdowns between all these poses. And then we'll take a look at your step 16 pose walk cycle next week. But I'm pretty confident that if all that goes well and that, all those frames are well considered, that it'll be no problem going to spline and kind of starting to wrap this project up and get on to the next one. So anyways, great work. I really like what you have going on here. Yeah, let me know if there was anything that doesn't make sense, and I really appreciate how you submit with this like triple view. This is great, and yeah, keep going. Great stuff.